The other two elements we need is we need the client list and we need the client list detail, and we're going to use MaterialUI to take help with creating those components. So let's get started. If you look at the widget, we have the client list at our return method as JSX. So if you open up the client list, we can start from the interface. So let's uncomment the interface. This code was created for us from our template using the template we created, and we can just comment that code out. We're not going to need recoil, but we need the prop. And in terms of prop, we need a couple of things. We need the data, and it's going to be, we're going to use that client object array for data, and we need the method to be able to set the selected item, just like how we did in the map. We're just going to pass the function from the widget. So we have the state with the selected item, and we're just going to pass that. So if we go back to the client widget, we need to update those data, we need to set the data, and we need to set the selected item. The data is going to be the client data object, and the selected item will be the set selected item object. Let's see, let's save it, make sure there's no errors. Okay, back in the client list component, now we can implement that. Let's see what we have here. In terms of, we don't need to keep any state, so we can delete that. We don't need any use effect, we can delete that. And then we can clean up our JSX code and just create new one. So I'm going to clean that up and just put opening and closing tags and clean up any imports. Okay. Now the next step is I'm going to be using a list, and a list is a container, so we don't need those tags. So the MaterialUI List is actually a container, so that can replace our opening and closing tag. We're going to use there's a property called dense in the list MaterialUI component. Dense property, if you drill into that, you can see it's optional, and what it does, you can look at the MaterialUI API list. It compacts the vertical padding for keyboard and mouse input, so it's just gonna make our list more compact, and because we only want the image, so that's gonna help us. Then the next thing we want to do, we can attach a style component, the MaterialUI built-in style component. And the way we can do that, we've done this before, we can just set a constant, and let's call it classes, and that can be attached to a use styles, and we can set our styles. So then we can create our classes, and then we can create a property for the root, and then we can set our, I need to fix the import statement, the order, and then what we can do is I can create a use styles. And by the way, you can extract this into a file. If your component become complex, I recommend extracting this, but our component is really simple, so there's no need to do that. And we can set the root, we can create styles, and then we can set the root element, and in the root element, let's see where it's complaining. It's missing the style tag before and after. It's to be wrapped like this. Okay, and then hold on. Yeah, this way we can, okay, I have to fix the formatting, and I need to import the make style for MaterialUI. Okay, and now in the root element, I can set all the CSS properties. So I can set the width, and this way it can be changed programmatically. So this is just a good design to use with MaterialUI, and I can set my maximum width to 150. I can set the background color, and what I can do is I can actually pass the theme. This way, if we want to create a theme or use the default one, we can do that already. So theme, palette, background, paper. So this way it's gonna hold, it's gonna age nicely, this component, in case we want to start adding that stuff. So if we change the template in other components, we can just put one main theme for all of our app. And for the maximum height, I'm going to use 340. Overflow, we want it to overflow, so I'll set it to auto. Then the padding from the top, let's give it a little bit of a padding, and we want to be able to scroll. So we need the overflow and we need the scroll. So without that, we won't be able to scroll the list. And now our classes are attached to our class name. Next, we're gonna, inside of our list, we can actually start mapping through our results. So what we can do is we can call our props and data, and then we can map through those results, and we can call it value. And when we map through the results, we can create the list item. And then the list item, because it's mapped, it needs the key. Hold on, we need to import, no suggestion, for the list item. So I can import it manually. Import list from, it's a MaterialUI core / list. So we need the list and we need the list item. Okay. Then we need the key. For the key, what we can do is we can actually, before we use the UUID, but what we can do is we know that our ID are unique. So I can just do, I just did it, the ID is running number, so we can actually use that as our key, because it's going to be unique, and then it's going to be of type button. And then what we can do is we can just handle the OnClick event. So we can collapse those elements, and then I can create an OnClick event. So my OnClick, what I can do is we can just use that that prop that we use, and what we did, we passed the set selected Let's actually break it out so we can do other things if we want. So I'm going to do it in handle click handler, and what I can do, I can pass on the value of ID -1, because it's always one element before, because we're starting from 0. Okay, and that we can create that here. So let's create a client. I'm sorry, we called it handle click, and that's gonna have what we need to do here. We need to pass, we're passing the ID. So you could see here we're passing the ID, so the ID is gonna be of type number, and we can handle that by, why do I have an extra? Okay, and now I can handle that. Once the ID is passed, I can just call my props, and in the props we set the selected item, and we can pass the ID using the data. So prop data, and we pass the ID. I'm getting all kind of errors, so let's fix a little bit. The list, we don't need it here. Actually, we can put all the material UI we're using here. Okay, then here we don't need to open this tag. Okay, let's see what else we got. We need to do a few more things. First of all, we need to return that list item. Let's close the tag. Okay, and now we need to fix the formatting. Let's see. I think it wants it in a new line. No, it's okay. Looks like there's one error over here. We need to import the client's objects. See, make sure that the errors are gone. Then inside of the list, what I want to do is I want to put an image. So to create the image, what I can do is I can just add an avatar, and the list component has an avatar. So what we can do is we can collapse it in the next line like this, and then I can add a list item avatar. Here we go, and the list item avatar, let's make sure it's imported. For some reason I need to do it manually, so I can just edit manually, list item avatar. And if you look at the MaterialUI docs, you can see all the details about those elements. But it expects inside of the list item avatar, I can actually use an image inside, an image tag. So first of all, let's fix the one parent element. So it's complaining. Let's see. Okay. The item list has to wrap the entire list. So I need to do like this. Okay, that would work. And then I can push this down. So you see my list item avatar has to be wrapped inside of the list item. Okay. So for the inside, I'm going to put an image tag, and my image, I'm going to put, it needs the alt, which we can use for SEO, and we need the actual image. So the image, I placed all of them in client logo slash, and then the logo name. So if you remember when I said that when we set those our CSV file, if you look again, look at the CSV data file, I put a property for the logo with the name, and the name, I put the logos of the companies inside client logos. Okay, so we need to match to that. And then for the alt, wait, I need to close. Okay, then for the alt, what I can do, I can just use This is just for SEO, so I can just use the value. So I can just do something like this. I can just do value dot name, the name, and that should do it. Then we need to close our image tag. Then one more thing I'm going to do, let's give it a width. So I can give it a width of, let's say 100 pixel. And then I'm getting one error. You could see the error is here because I'm collapsing the elements. I need to collapse the list item as well. And then save, and then when it's, the ID takes a few seconds to analyze. Okay, so I got no errors. So now my client list is really complete. We can test that. Okay, look like my images are broken. Let's take a look why. Yeah, if you look at the client, it's client's logo, not client logo. So we need to change that. And great. Now we have the list and we can scroll through the list and we can select an item on the list, and the item on the list, it shows on the map.